प्राणानां नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने ओमवद्व्याप्तिरेभाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नारायणं पद्मभवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तन्तोटकं वार्तिककारमस्मद्गुरुं सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। यत्साक्षात् सच्चिदानन्दप्रत्यगद्वयमक्रियं तन्नमामि स्वस्ययोगिगम्यं परम्। खानिलाग्न्यक्तिरित्वन्तं श्रवणीयोद्गतं यथा स्वान्तच्छिदिनमस्तस्मै हरे साक्षिणे गुरुभ्यो नमः। तो किम तर्हि, the verse we looked at last was बुद्धेर अनात्म धर्मत्वम अनुमानात् प्रसिद्ध्यति आत्मनोप्यद्वितीयत्वम आत्मत्वादेव सिद्ध्यति. Just like the anatma dharma is of the buddhi. How do we know that? Due to anumana, inference. Similarly, because atma has atmatva, meaning because atma is atma, therefore it is advitiya. Everything else going away, what remains is atma. You don't know anything else. Everything else is known through other pramanas. Atma is swatah siddha. So it's advitiyatva is swatah siddha. This is the idea. Meaning for everything you need pramana, for what you don't need pramana is what? Advitiyatvam of Atma. There is no second entity other than me. It's a fact. But still, with Shabda Pramana, the Advitiyatva is revealed by saying that you are not anything else. Everything else is Mithya. So taking away everything as real from the Buddhi, what remains is Atma, which cannot be taken away by any Pramana, including Shabda Pramana. Therefore, Advitiyatvam is Atmatvadeva. This is a fact. So, that is what finally will be called as Sakshatkara Anubhuti. Till then, every Pramana is needed to see which Pramana works. And we find out Shabda Pramana is the only one which works. And that also works through Neti Neti Prakriya. Otherwise, Advitiyatvam cannot be known. Because we have taken everything which is Pratyaksha to us as granted as real. We have taken everything that is Pratyaksha to be granted as real. Therefore, what happens is that we need Pramana to take away Satyatva Buddhi in that. Thereby, what remains is Advitiya Atma. This is the entire Prakriya really. Okay, so we looked at this and then we are looking at a long sentence which said, Yadyapi ayam samsara. Ayam samsara. What kind of samsara is it? Grahitu, grahana, grahya, grihiti, tatphalatmaka samsara. It is a samsara made up of Triputi, Pramata, Pramana, Prameya, and the Prama that is Utpanna, Phalatmaka. Whatever is the phala of all of these. Finally, what is the phala? Samsara only phala. As long as Triputi remains, it is samsara. It will keep on coming back. As long as Triputi remains, means what? Satyatva, Buddhi in Triputi, and the Bheda. That is what is the idea. The Triputi will not suddenly vanish. Triputi will be there, but you don't have Satyatva Buddhi in that. Guna Guneshu Vartanta, iti matva na sajjate. Nanu sajjate na sajjate. One does not have attachment knowing that gunas have their dharma to interact with other gunas, meaning indriyas, bhuta bhautika have their samparka, their vyavahara, that is their very swabhava. I am not connected with any of those, including my ahankara. That my ahankara is also figurative usage. There is no ownership of ahankara needed there at all. There is no ahankara ityartha. Mithyattva buddhi should be there. And what is it? Is it only me? No. Abrahma stamba paryanta samsara. Even Hiranyagarbha, Brahmaji, Chaturmukha Brahma is also samsari. Why samsari? Because he is manifest in the form of Srishtikarta or Hiranyagarbha Loka Adhishtatra Devata or Adhyaksha Devata. So in the form of Devata, he is also Jiva. And being Jiva, be with the highest upadhi possible, but still Samsaranam is there. He has a role to play. Whether or not he considers himself as with Jnanotpatti, whether or not he considers himself as Jiva is a different matter. But from our perspective, he has a role to play, so he is Jiva. He may be a Mukta Jiva with Jnana. So here, Abrahma Stamba Pariyanta, why it is said, why Chaturmukha Brahma is also included, why Hiranyagarbha is included? Because Shastra says that you can become Hiranyagarbha. You can have Hiranyagarbha Upadhi through Upasana, Karma Upasana. Therefore, it is said that is also samsara. Why do you want that? Even if you get the Hiranyagarbha Sukha, which is all Sukha, which is experienced by each and every Jiva at any moment, all that Sukha is Hiranyagarbha Sukha. Still, it is limited because you have to come back again. You may have association with Hiranyagarbha, not that you will become Hiranyagarbha, meaning you will become Brahma. You will have that Upadhi Sukha with your Upasana Phala, as the Upasana Phala. He will be freed. If I don't get that Jnana that he has, then I'll be born again. He'll be free. I'll be born again. Therefore, Abrahma Sambha Paryanta Samsara eva. But Yadyapi Ayam Samsara is what? Anvaya Vyatireka Abhyam Anatmataya Nirmalyavat Apaviddaha Tyaktaha. Although it is to be set aside with Anvaya and Vyatireka, you can know. And thereby, this samsara is different from me, anatma. Thereby, that which has lost essence has to be given up, like nirmalya. Similarly, this has to be given up. Tathapi, even if it is so, tathapi tu na eva so swatassiddha atma vyatirikta anatma prakriti padartha vyapashraya sankhyanam eva. Kim tari. This is where Sankhya say that it is swatassiddha atma vyatirikta anatma samsara is what? Pradhanadi. Prakriti, Mula Prakriti Adi, Prakriti Vikruti both. That is all Swatasiddha for them. That is Swatasiddha. Therefore, although Atma Vyatirikta, but Swatasiddha for them, Prakriti also, Pradhana also. Therefore, Anatma Prakriti Padartha Vyapashrayaha Sankhyanamiva. No. This samsara is not based in something which is real second entity like Pradhana, and they consider Swatasiddha, meaning it will always remain. Purusha need not be there for Pradhana to be there. Purusha is there, of course, but Asanga Purusha has no connection, not Mithya Sambandha also. Therefore, second real entity is there. Kim tarhi? Then what is your case, Vedantis? Siddhanti says, Swatasiddha Anudita Anastamita Kutastha Atma Prajnana Matra Sharira Pratibimbita Avicharita Siddha Atma Anavodashrayaha. So up till Atma it's a single word. Long samasa, as I said yesterday. Swatasiddha Atma, it has basis in Atma. It is not anatma padartha ashraya samsara. Samsara is dependent on atma, says Siddhanti. What atma? Swatah siddha atma. So Swatah siddha atma is acceptable to Sankhyas also. What is the difference? The second is not Swatah siddha, or is not, samsara is not based in Swatah siddha anatma. Our paksha is, Vedanti's paksha is, samsara has dependency like Sankhyas, but Sankhya concludes that the samsara is dependent on Swatah siddha anatma. Prakriti adi, Mula Prakriti adi, Pradhana. Initially Pradhana, and then if everything else that follows, suddenly some of them become Prakriti also for others, meaning Karana for others, then they are dependent on those Karanas, Prakritis. So Mula Prakriti onwards, any Prakriti which is there, Samsara has dependency on those. But we can take Pradhana. Currently we'll just take Mula Prakriti, which is Swatah Siddha. On that Mula Prakriti, which is independent of Purusha, Pradhana is independent of Purusha. It is called Mula Prakriti. And it is Swatah Siddha. That becomes the basis for Samsara. So Samsara is dependent on that. Siddhanti says, for us, like Sankhya's Purusha, which is Swatah Siddha, our Atma is Swatah Siddha, all right. But Maya, Mula Prakriti is not Swatah Siddha. In fact, Samsara does not have dependency on Maya alone. It has dependency on that Maya is also what? Brahmashrita, Atmashrita. Therefore, for the existence of Maya also there is Brahma Satta needed. So Samsara is dependent on Brahma Satta. So Swatah Siddha, what is that? Atma. What kind of Atma? He says, Anudita Anastamita, which is not Agantuka. It does not come up and go like Pradhana Karya. Or we can say Samsara comes and goes. They don't say Pradhana comes and goes. They say Pradhana is Satya. Nitya, not Satya. Satya also, Nitya also. So, Anudita, Anastamita, which does not rise and set, meaning does not come and go. That kind of Swatah Siddha Atma. Further, what? Kutastha, Kutavat Tishtati. It does not move. There is no Sangha. We have said Sangha is there, but it is Adhyasika Sambandha. Kutastha, Atma. What is it? What's its Swarupa? Prajnana Matra Sharira. Prajnanameva Prajnana Matram. Chideva Chinmatram. Similarly, Samasa is what? Prajnanameva Prajnana Matram. Tadeva Shariram. Shariram is Swarupam here. It is Prajnana is Chaitanya. So Chaitanya Shariram. Chaitanya Shariri ityartha. Meaning Chaitanya Swarupa. And Pratibimbita. Prajnana Matra Sharira Pratibimbita. Or you can say Prajnana Matra Sharira. You can take Sharira separately. You say Prajnana Matra and Sharire Pratibimbita. That is also possible. Prajnana Matram, but Sharire Pratibimbita. Sharira is used in sense of Swarupa also. That way also it will work. Or Sharire Pratibimbita. We can say Sharire Pratibimbita becomes Jiva. So that Kutastha Atma, when it is Pratibimbita in Sukshma Sharira, then what? Avicharita Siddha Atma. It is not Swatah Siddha, but Avicharita Siddha. It's Swatah Siddha, Avicharita Siddha means what? Pratibimbita. But if you do Vichara, is it established with Vichara? No, it is already there. Siddha Vastu, not Sadhya. Avicharita Siddha. So you can take it as what? Swatah Siddha means Avicharita Siddha. It is there even without Vichara. But with Vichara, you take away other things, therefore it will become Pratyaksha or Aparoksha. Already Aparoksha, Paroksha Bhati, then becomes Aparoksha. So Prajnana, what is the long samasa again? In a single breath you have to read. Sorry. So Swatah Siddha Anudita Anastamita Kutastha Atma Prajnana Matra Sharira Pratibimbita Avicharita Siddha Atma. anavabodha ashraya. So this Swadasiddha Atma, when it is not known, Siddha Atma actually, eva, here if you look at it, kintu, kintari, Swadasiddha, kimtari. So the after the Atma, the samasa continues, because here you have this samsara is the Anyapada, or samsara is the Visheshya here. So this samsara is what? Svatasiddha, Anudita, Anastamita, Kutastha Atma, Prajnana Matra, Sharira, Pratibimbita, Avicharita Siddha, Atma Anavabodha Ashraya. So Atma is, the samasa does not end here. Atma Anavabodha Ashraya. So this Avicharita Siddha Atma should be Avicharita Siddha, not Vicharita Siddha. You don't have to establish Atma with Vichara. It is already established. You have to know, and thereby everything which seems siddha becomes becomes mithya. Thereby what remains is atma. Therefore, avicharita siddha atma. If it is atma is avicharita siddha, then why is it that I still need vichara? Siddhanti says that atmanaha anavabodha is ashraya. Anavabodha is ajna. That particular avicharita siddha atma, which is siddha, what is siddha, is avicharita also. So, not vicharena siddha, avicharita siddha. Or avicharita siddha can also be taken in a different manner, but here particularly this explanation holds good, that pratibimbita gives a bhranti that I am samsari, I am pramatadi. Therefore, vichara is needed to take away anavabodha, ajnana, and thereby this avicharita siddha atma appears to be vichara siddha. So, atma ajnana is the ashraya, anavabodha. Basically, what is the, if you take away the entire samasa and just take this part, atma anavabodha ashraya samsara. This atma is unknown. Why is it unknown? Unknown because ajnana is veiling this atma. And this atma is ashraya for samsara. Not swatasiddha anatma mula prakriti adi, like Sankhyas. So Kimtarihi, for us, swatasiddha atma anavabodha ashraya. So this Atma, Ajnana, which is in Atma itself, Brahmatma itself, that becomes Ashraya for Samsara. So what is the Ashraya really? Directly Atma is not the Ashraya. Atma, Anavabodha is the Ashraya. So Atma, we have seen earlier. Ajnana, where is Ajnana? We don't have a second entity, so it will be in Brahmatma only. What is the Vishaya of this Ajnana? Brahmatma only. So this Ajnana, which is sitting in Brahmatma, veils that very Brahmatma. And then becomes the Ashraya for Samsara. Now, what kind of Atma is this? It is Swatasiddha Atma. What else is it? Avicharita Siddha. Swatasiddha, Avicharita Siddha should have same meaning really. But Avicharita Siddha word has been used, although Avicharita Siddha, still Vichara is needed. Why is it needed? To take away Anavabodha. So this is the idea. And Avicharita Siddha, what is the reason for this? What is the karya of this Anavabodha? The karya is Sukshma Sharira. Anavabodha is Karana Sharira, Ajnana. What is its karya? Sukshma Sharira and Stula Sharira. There is Tadatmya in that. How is there Tadatmya? Because there is Pratibimba. So Pratibimbita, where Sharira is Sukshma Sharira, Stula Sharira also you can take by extension. Otherwise, what is Atma? Prajnana Matra. What else is it? Swatah Siddha. Here we have seen Swatah Siddha Kutastha Atma. Swatah Siddha Kutastha Atma and Anudita Anastamita. Never goes away in any of the avasthas. Jagrat Swapna Sushupta avasthasu api. Anudita Anastamita Kutastha Atma. What is it? Swarupa Prajnana Matra, Chaitanya Matra. So Chin Matra ityartha. And that Chin Matra, where is it? That itself is Sharira. But you say, oh, but other Shariras are there. Yes, they are Ajnana Karya. In that there is a Pratibimba. And in Pratibimbita, this Pratibimbita is taken to be granted all those Avicharita Siddha should be, Atma should be there. And that Atma has become Pratibimbita and you consider yourself as Pratibimbita in the Sharira with Sharira Sambandha. Therefore, Samsarana. So, what is its Ashraya? Anavabodha. They also say Prakriti. If you say Prakriti is Maya, Maya is Ajnana, Ajnana is Anavabodha, then same meaning you have used different words with shade of difference. If this is the question, Siddhanti says yes, they may be equated. Maya, Prakriti, Anavabodha, Avidya, Ajnana, all these words you can say something similar, not exact, something similar to Pradhana, Mula Prakriti of Sankhya's, but dependent on Atma is the difference. Dependent on Atma. Not Swatah Siddha. Atma Siddha. What is the Siddhi of Ajnana also? And Ajnana Karya thereby due to Atma. So, Anavabodha Ashraya eva all right. But Atma Anavabodha Ashraya and the Visheshanas are for the Atma. Not for Anavabodha. Anavabodha is not Swatah Siddha in a sense as a second entity. Ajnana is also known, but not Swatah Siddha, meaning it has to be revealed. Ajnana to be revealed, Chaitanya is needed. You don't know your Ajnana in Sushupti without Chaitanya. Chaitanya is still there. So this is the idea. Eva tad upadanatvat tasya iti imam artham nirvaktu kamaha aha. Nirvaktu kama. Sambandhoktikara is desirous of Nishchayana Vaktum. Desirous of stating it with Nishchaya to drive home the point conclusively. He states the 97th verse. And to reveal what? To establish what conclusively? Tad upadanatvat tasya iti imam artham. This idea that tadupadanatvat tasya. Tadupadanatvat means what? Atma upadanatvat ajnanasya and ajnana upadanatvat samsarasya. So samsarasya atma upadanatvat. This is the idea. In the chain, samsara is dependent on ajnana. Ajnana is dependent on atma. So samsara is dependent on atma. So you can read it both ways. Tadupadanatvat tasya kasya. Tat has been used twice, once in Shashti and once in second case. So first case only, but in Bahuri, tadupadanam yasya. So tadupadanatvat, what is tadupadana? Tadupadana is samsara. Brahma upadana or ajnana upadana. So ajnana which is dependent on atma. So atma is the real basis for everything. It is a real substratum. And thereby the 97th verse says, Rute jnanam na santyarthaha asti jnanam rute pitan evan dhiyo hiruk jyotir vivichyadanumanatāha. Rute jnanam na santi arthaha asti jnanam rute api tan evam dhiyaha hiruk jyotihi vivichyadanumanatāha. Anumanatha. Anumanatha vivityat. What? Jyotihi. Hiruk means pratak. Evam. In this manner, dhiyaha. Panchami. From the buddhi, ahankaradi, jyotihi should be separated. What is jyoti? Atma jyoti, swarupa jyoti. That is the tvam-pada viveka. Vivityat means it should be separated cognitively with viveka. Using what? Anumana only. You don't have much tools there. Anumana. You have to use anumana. What is the basis for this anumana? What is the samagri for this anumana? How does this work? Siddhanti says jnanamrute arthaha na santi. Artha jnanamrute na santi. The Vishayas are not there without Jnana. Very strange statement. If Vishayas are there, then Jnana is there. Jnana has dependency on Vishaya, not the other way around. So this Jnana is not Lyudanta. It is Lyuanta. Lyu Pratyaya Kartari. Lyut Pratyaya Jnanam in Napunsaka is with Napunsaka is with Lyut Pratyaya. Lyut Pratyaya is in which meaning? It is Akartari Chakarake Sanyaya. It can come in any Karaka meaning except Karta. So, but here Jnana is in Karta meaning. So, without the Jnana means Chaitanya, Kartari Vyutpatti, Karta meaning Kartari Vyutpatti. Not Bhave also. Jnanam is knowledge. If you take knowledge, Bhave and Akartari cha Karake. Lyut Pratyaya comes in Bhave also. Kriyartha, Shuddha Dhatu Artha. Meaning knowledge. Or what? Any of the other the knowable object, the object known in Karmani Utpatti, Adhikarani Utpatti, Adhisthana of where knowledge takes place. All of these are possible with Lyut Pratyaya, Bhave and Akartari cha Karaki Sanyaya. But here Kartari Utpatti. In Kartari Utpatti you don't get Lyut. So like Pachadi Ach, you get Lyu also. Lyu ni Achaha. What is called Pachadi Ach, Kartari. Pachati iti Pachaha. Pachati iti Pachaha. I think so that will be Pachadi Ach. Similarly, you have Ni also and Nich Pratyaya. So Ni Achaha. So here what? Lyu. Lyu ni Acha. Lyu Pratyaya comes in. Lyu Pratyaya will also give you your Anako, Ana. You will get Ana. So Jna plus Lyu will give you Jna plus Ana. You will get Jnana. But Jnana is pulling here. Jnanaha. Not Jnanam. Jnanaha. If you take with Chaitanya, it will become Jnanam, of course. So this Jnana can take any of the lingas based on what is it qualifying, what is the Vishesha. So we're here Chaitanya Ityartha. This Chaitanya, without Chaitanya, so there is a Tippana here, okay. Janati iti jnanam drashta Chandrika. So drashta. Without the drashta, you cannot have artha. So this Chaitanya who becomes Pramata. We can take Pramata meaning. Without the Pramata, who is what? Pratibimbita Chaitanya. Without that, you cannot have Artha Vishaya. Are Ghatapatadi Prapancha Padarthas there without the Drashta? In fact, this is also the a hidden meaning you can read. Drishti Srishti Vada. Without the Drashta, there is no Drishya Padartha. You can take it in basic meaning, but there is a hidden meaning you can read that it is Drishti Srishti Vada. But without what? Basically, Mithyatva is being shown. That is the idea. But you can read more. Those who are interested can read more. That this is also showing Drishti Srishti Vada. Without Chaitanya, there is no Siddhi of anything. That Chaitanya is me. In Srishti Drishti Vada, you should say that even without my seeing, somebody else is seeing or not, Prapancha exists. So they say Ishvara Srishti is there. Jiva Srishti may not be there. Ishvara Srishti is there. In Srishti Drishti Vada, Srishti precedes. But here it has been shown, Artaha Rute Jnanam na santi. Meaning Satta itself is not there. Without the Jnana, here it is not talked about as Ishvara Jnana. It is what? Ishvara Jnana. It is not. It is Drashta. So only when I see, Prapancha is there. In Sushupti, there is no Prapancha. Only when I am seeing Jagrat Prapancha or Swapna Prapancha, when I am seeing, then only Prapancha is there. For me, I don't care about others. Why? Because others are also seen by me. They do not exist unless I see them. This is Drishti Srishti Vada. So, Jnanam Rute Artaha na santi. But what is the Mithyatva Nishchaya of this? Other way around is not true. Tan Vishayan Arthan Vina api. Vina means rute. Rute is vina. Without them also, jnanam asti. So here jnanam chaitanyam drashta. But again, jnanam here is what? Lyu pratyanta, not lyut. Kartari. Kartari jnanam. Here. Kartari vyutpatti. So Vishayas, including Antakarana, Ahankara, Ahankaradi, entire Prapancha, Ghatapatadi Prapancha Paryantam, Brahmaloka Paryantam, Kimapi Nasti, Rute Jnanam, Drashtaram Rute, Rute Drashtaram Ityartha. Who is Chaitanya Rupa? But Chaitanya Rupa, Atma, Drashta, is there even without any of the lokas being there, Tan Rute, Vishyan Rute. Like in Sushupti and Pralaya, evam dhiya hi hiruk. Hiruk is prutak. Separate from the Panchami dhiya. In this manner, Jyoti should be separated out using Anumana from Dhi, Buddhis. Evam dhiya hiruk Jyoti hi Anumanatha Vivichyaditi Anvaya. That is in 97th word. Was there a tika remaining there? No, we have seen the 97th tika, it's done. 98th verse tika says, Etena Atmanah aprameyattvam api sadhitam bhavati tyaha yasmaditi. So, directly, he has already said, hidden in the samasa avicharita siddhatma. Swata siddhatma, avicharita siddhatma, not a sadhya vastu. That is the idea there. Not a sadhya vastu which will come up in karma or in karma and upasana or only upasana. None of these possibilities are there because Atma is not a janya vastu like Swarga, Swargadi. Jnana is janya, vrityatmaka. But jnana swarupa is not janya. Satyam jnanam anantam, there also jnanam is sitting there. What is that jnanam? There is bhave vitpatti only. Jnana swarupa ityartha. That swarupa jnana, very swarupa, it is not born. If it is not born, then how will Shravana Mananadi also, Shabda Pramana also give rise to Atma? It will not. Atma is already there. It is revealed. It is revealed. You already know Atma. Shastra is also working towards someone who is Chetana. So is Swarup, he does not know that my Swarupa is Chetana. He already knows Chetana is there. But there is something else also. Some other limitations are added here with Visheshanas. Manushya, Purusha, Stri, Ityadi. All sorts of Visheshanas are there throughout the life, across lives. Janma Janmantara, Anadi Kalata. So those Visheshanas are to be taken away. For that, Shabda Pramana is needed. So he's already said Avicharita Siddhatma and Swata Siddha. Such words are used. Swata Siddha may be confusing. Avicharita Siddha is used. That may also be confusing. So here the Tikakara says, Etena Atmana Aprameyatvam api sadhitam bhavati. Atma is not a prameya. Na prameya iti aprameya. Tasya bhava aprameyatvam. Not a prameya, not a vishaya to be known, not an object to be known. Atma is not an object. That also becomes established by this, through this. Etena. And thereby he says, iti aha clarifies yasmaditi. So Sambandhuktikara, Bhagavan Vartikara says, yasmad pramana prameya vyavaharaha vyavahara atma anavabodhashreya eva. This pramana prameya vyavahara, Triputi comes up and there is a vyavahara. Pramata is there and he uses the pramana vyapara to connect with the prameya vastu. Vishaya, Ghatapatadi, Prapancha. Ahankaradi really, but we'll say Ghatapatadi, Prapancha. Yasmat pramana prameya vyavahara. Will this pramana prameya vyavahara work without pramata? We'll say there is a Vishaya and Indriyas can connect. But if the knower is not there, Indriyas are there, if you say, Golakas are there, eyes are open, sleeping. Some people sleep with, eyes partially open. yoga, yoga nidra. It's not yoga nidra, but partially open. Eyes are partial. Anyway, this reminds me, doctor had pointed out that what we had seen, what was the word there? I said the hair is visible. So there was a word there, some roga. It is not a roga, kachadi. So this kacha, he had explained in so just for the sake of the recording, he had clarified this kacha. So it's you see some, because of the something being there in the vitreous humor of the eye. So especially when you look at light, you'll see some kind of things, some worms crawling or something like that, like a DNA structure. I sometimes see that, DNA structure kind of a thing moving. So when you move your eyes across, or a, strand of hair or a bunch of hair, whatever. So there are various things you see. It's not a disease per se, but then still, he said that you have to, if you see that continuously, need a checkup. So anyway, something is there in the vitreous humor, some kind of a thickening there. Therefore you see. So that is the idea here. So it is upadhi. Idea here is upadhi. So I had explained this as cataract. Cataract can be an example, but kacha is not an example. Does not mean cataract. So I wanted to clarify that. So thanks to Dr. Subhashiji. So what do we have here? We have एतेन आत्मनः अप्रमेयत्वमपि साधितं भवति इत्याह यस्मात् प्रमाण प्रमेय व्यवहार आत्म अनवबोध आश्रय एव. It is dependent on ajnana of atma. Ajnana with where atma is vishaya. What is dependent? Pramana prameya vyavahara. How so? Pramana and prameya are not complete without the Triputi third entity. Third entity of the Triputi is Pramata. Every Pramana Prameya Vyavahara is for whom? For Pramata. Pramana Prameya Vyavahara is not for Pramana. It is not for Prameya. The Ghata does not say, the Ghata gets nothing if you objectify it. What does Ghata get? Ghata says, if Ghata had a mind, maybe it would also become samsari like us. But Ghata does not have a say in this, becomes an object, does not care, it does not even have have senses to care. So it is not for Ghata. What about Pramana, Indriya? Chakshur Indriya does not have work for itself. Yes, Adhishthatra Devata is there. When we say Prameya, Pramana, all that, Adhishthatra Devata is there. That's why it works. Paramatma also facilitates the Indriya by becoming Indriya Adhishthatra. Adhishthatra Devata. Paramatma himself appears that. And it is a phala of their upasana, karma ityadi. Enjoy senses a lot. So I would like to have more and more chakshur. I like to see something. Sightseeing. So upasanas are there to strengthen those indriyas. And then get those kind of phalas. So I would like to see Svargaloka. I would like to see this loka, that loka. Siddhi. So maybe some set of karmas and upasanas will lead to becoming that kind of adhishtatra devata. Is karma opens up. You wanted this, you have done enough. So may you be blessed with what? With that kind of devatatva padvi, devatatva, whereby you will be associated with all indriyas of all pranis, chakshur indriya. So if anyone sees anything, you are there. So such idea is there with Adhishtatru Devata. With the blessing of Ishvara, Karma Phala you can say, or blessing of Ishvara, Ishvara himself makes all these Indriyas work. Keneshitam, Preshitam, Manah Patati, Patati Manaha. So Kena Upanishad opens like that. Antakarana also. So you take every Indriya, everything works with some Adhishtatru Devata, Ishvara giving Anugraha. Why? Because this Jiva has to have some Bhoga. That Jiva also has to have some Bhoga. Each and every jiva has to have some bhoga through that indriya. That indriya, Adhishtatru Devata also has some karma pending. So, samsara all the way. But for whom? Pramata should be there. Adhishtatru Devata should be there. This Pramata whose Indriya, this Indriya belongs to me, he says. You are an Adhishtatru Devata, but I am seeing. So I, the Pramata, for whom this Prameya Vyavahara is there. There is a Nyaya. That something similar. Anything that is put together, Samhata, is for someone who is Asamhata. If I build a house, it is not for the brick, mortar, etc. It is not for the cement which you use or the, the RCC or the every material that goes in. It is not for the tiles, it is not for the walls, it is not for the doors, windows, etc. All of those are put together for someone who is not part of that mix, conglomerate. Everything is put together for one who is not put together. He is separate from that. This is the Nyaya. So the house is built. Now, house is built and then it is not also for the builders. But then the idea is what? Let's say somebody builds it. He builds it on his own. But he has to stay within, it is for him. So nobody says, I built this house. Why did you build it? One may say, just like that, I had money, I built it. Or whatever, I like the place, I built it. Are you going to stay here? Somebody may say, no, I may visit, may not visit, I just built it. Someone may say, but still nobody will say, I have built the house and talk to the materials, now you enjoy. The bricks which are put together, they are not going to enjoy. You can't just say that you enjoy it, you are put together. They are put together because somebody else has a purpose to be served. Asamvata. So here, Pramana, Prameya, Vyavahara, they come together. Pramana and Prameya come together for whom? For the Pramata. Who is this Pramata? This Pramata is Pratibimbita Sharire Pratibimbita. He is one who is Pratibimbita in the Sharira. Who is that? Atma only. Avicharita Siddha Atma only. So we can say Prajnana Matra who is there. Sharire Pratibimbita Yaha Avicharita Siddha Atma. That Atma Anavodashraya is this Pramana Prameya Vyavahara. Same Anavodashraya word is here as well. See, you look at it, I said that we can just say Atma Anavodashraya. So there is some, blessing of Vartiyakara. I just said this long samasa you can skip. I just said that Atma Anavodashraya is the idea. He has used the same word here. Atma Anavodashraya. He has also removed all of these. He explained that, then he says that now you understand it, drop that. Atma is the idea. Atma, Anavodashraya, he uses the same thing. So some anugrah working there. Yasmat Pramana Prameya Vyavahara is what? Atma Anavodashraya. Every Pramana Prameya Vyavahara is for Pramata. This Pramata who is nothing but Atma Pratibimbita. But Avicharita Siddha still what? Veiled by Anavabodha. Atma Anavabodashraya. Therefore, what? Tasmat Siddham Atmana Aprameyatvam. How so? Because Pramana and Prameya are for Pramata. Pramata is not by Pramana and Prameya. Rather, Pramata, you can say Pramana, Prameya is there. The third is Pramata. It is for Pramata. But this Pramata also has come up. Pramata has come up for Pramana Prameya Vyavahara. Pramana Prameya Vyavahara have come up for Pramata. Pramata himself has come up due to Ajnana. Pramana Prameya Vyavahara are through Pramata. Pramata is Anavabodashraya. Atma Anavabodashraya. So Samsara is what? Pramana Prameya Vyavahara is shown as Anavabodashraya. Atma Anavabodashraya. Atma Ajnana. Due to Atma Ajnana only Pramana Prameya Vyavahara. Veda. What about Pramata? Pramata is also Ajnana Siddha because Visheshana, he has taken this Sharire Pratibimbita, Shariram as Pratibimba, Sharira as Visheshana, one's own Visheshana, then Pratibimba also as one's Visheshana, put together Visheshana, therefore Samsari, that Pramata. Pramata is also, Anavabodha Ashraya only, Atma Anavabodha Ashraya. Thereby, you look at it, construct is Yasmat pramana prameya vyavahara. Pramata is not mentioned here. Pramana prameya vyavahara atma anavodashreya. I take myself to be pramata, hidden meaning within there, and thereby pramana prameya vyavahara is for my purpose. My prayojana is there. I am arthi. I am prameya arthi. But this vyavahara has basis on atma anavoda. Atma cannot be prameya now. Therefore, what? Atma is not prameya. You need Atma, Ajnana as basis for Pramana Prameya Vyavahara. Then how will Atma be revealed, meaning Atma be Vishaya Prameya itself? Cannot be. Therefore, Siddham Atmana Aprameyatvam. Atma, Ajnana with basis on Atma makes Pramana Prameya Vyavahara possible. Then how that very Atma can become Prameya? Prameya cannot, Atma if it becomes Prameya, which has dependency on Ajnana of that very Atma, meaning Atma also is basis. There will be Swashraya dosha. So Atma cannot become Prameya at all, therefore Atmana Prameyatvam, Aprameyatvam Siddham. Further what? Na eva hi karyam swakaranam atilingya anyatra akarake aspadam upanibadnati atah. So any karya cannot exist without its karana. Anyatra akarake. So there is a karaka sambandha. Somewhere else you cannot have take dependency. The dependency is in its own karana. So nahi eva hi karyam swakaranam atilingya anyatra akarake aspadam ashrayatvam upanibadnati. There is a karya karana sambandha where there is a type ashraya and ashrita. You cannot have some unrelated ashraya somewhere else. Everything is dependent on Atma. That is the idea. The entire thing chain is dependent on Atma. Atma is not something which is dependent on anything else. So thus Siddha Atma, on which everything else is through Atma. Siddha through Atma, and they have dependency on Atma. So you cannot have Swak. The Ajnana, or in the case of Sankhya, Pradhana cannot be Swatasiddha and have become the basis for everything else. So, nahi karyam swakaranam atilangya anyatra akarake. There is no karaka sambandha somewhere, kartrukaraka, on kartrukaraka or karya karana sambandha will be there. Karta and Karya. Karya will depend on karma. So you say Karta and Karma. Karma is done by Karta. So karma has dependency on Karta. You cannot have say karma is dependent on something else. So Karya, Ghatapatadi have dependency on Mrut. Not Akaraka somewhere else. You have to show Karya Karana Sambandha. And the entire Karya Karana Sambandha, you will see Tasmad Vai, Tasmad Atmana, Akasha Sambhuta, Akasha Vai Ityadi. Everywhere you see Atma is the ultimate Karana. Akarana Karana itself does not have any dependency on any Karana. So everything traces back there. You cannot take some Akarana and Akaraka and say this Karya is dependent on something else. You will have to come back to Atma. So this is the Ataha. Ataha in the 98th verse. Before that there is a Sangati. So Yasmat, from Yasmat he is moved to, okay, so Yasmat, just give me one moment. This was 97 Tika. What is this Yasmat? Tika. So 97th is over here. And 98th is here. Okay, so in fact, there is put a separated out the Tika here. This is 98 Tika, but there is something pending. So this does not end. I think there's a long word or something. Yeah. So he's made a different paragraph, but it's a 98th verse only. Same. So 98th verse in Tika has already started with Sangati with Yasmat. Then there is more Sangati with the Nahi. So Nahi iti. So we'll look at this Nahi iti. Nahi iti, there's a Naiva iti, I think. Naiva hi iti, Mule Pata. So this Sangati is for this Naiva hi. naiva hi, nahi. So evakara is not there in some parts. That is okay. So this sentence is introduced by Tika further. Atma anavoda ashrayatvam sadhayati. The Atma Ajnana itself is Ashraya for everything, samsara. That he establishes by saying, Nahi Karyam Swakaranam Atilangya. Atma is the basis, and Atma Ajnana, Maya, Prakriti, Avidya, all that you say, that becomes Karana, but Atma is the Ashraya for Ajnana also. That is how you trace back to Atma. You can directly go with Taitri Shruti also. But here you look at it, Atma anavoda ashrayatvam kasya samsarasya. Because no karya can be without its karana having basis in some other karaka. No, not some other karaka. Actually, akaraka means not a karaka. There is no sambandha at all. So asambandha cannot become basis for something. So sambandha should be there. And finally, look at it. Ajnana has sambandha with the Chaitanya also as its ashraya. Ajnana is also ashrita in Brahma. Tattvabodha. What? Brahmashrita Maya Asti. Asti Kachit Brahmashrita Maya. Trigunaatmika Brahmashrita. It is Ashrita in Brahma. So Ajnana, Avidya, Maya, Prakriti, Mula Prakriti, Pradhana, all these words you can use, but still you have to come back to Atma. So Atma Anavabodha, not only Ajnana, Atma Anavabodha Ashriyatvamev Sadhayati Nahiti. Vyavadhiyante. So now here, 98th verse is what? Therefore, to show that everything in samsara has ajnana as its basis, and that ajnana is of Atma. Therefore, Atma ashrita ajnana as well. Vyavadhiyanta evami buddhideha ghatadayah atmatvadatmana kena vyavadhanam managapi. So, vyavadhiyante eva ami buddhi deha ghatadaya, single word. Atmatvat atmanah kena vyavadhanam manak api. Manak api, even a little. Manak is an avyaya. Even a little. Manak api. Vyavadhanam kena atmanah kena vyavadhanam manak api vyavadhanam kena bhavati. Aksheparte kim? Kena api na bhavati. Vyavadhanam is how will you separate Atma from Atma? Oh, Atma is, see, because in Ishavasya Upanishad also, Tad Duram, Tad Antike, Tadu Antike. So, Tad Duram, that Atma Tattva is said to be Dura. So, Purva Pakshi may say, how do you say Atma Vyavadhana is not there? Shruti says that Tad Duram, Atma Tattvam Duram. Paramatma Tattva, Atma Tattva is Dura. But it says Antike. Very near. Very near means what? It is you. So how can there be contradictory words there? So Purva Pakshi may just see Vyavadhana is possible because said to be Dura also. So Bhagavan Bhashyakara says, why is it Dura? He says Ajnani is Ajnani without Jnana, Atma Jnana, can say Varsha Shata Koti also will be insufficient, meaning go on forever. Anadi Kalata Samsara. Why? Because without Jnana, it will never be known. Therefore, Dura, it becomes very far away. Atma Tattva is lost on us. Yeah, but I know myself. What? As man, Manushya, man, ityadi, everything. I know who I am. Who I am. You don't need to tell me. But that is not Atma. Therefore, Dura. The real Atma Tattva is Dura. The internet is a little jittery. I got a pop-up saying internet is unstable. So hopefully audio is clear. So Vyavadhanam Duram. Due to Duram word, Vyavadhana is possible. If you say that is because it is with Ajnana, you think it is not me. But the fact is what? Atma is Atma. It is like saying this ghata is ghata. A particular ghata is ghata, and that ghata, how far is it from that ghata? Somebody asked that question. Puja Swami, you will say what? Puja Swami will say, how many ghatas are there? If you look at it, so he'll bring a big pot, small pot, middle pot, three pots he'll show. How many pots are there? Say 3 pots are there. How many clays are there? So says if you answer 3, then I'll count 4 because your head is also one pot. Puja Swami, if you see 3 clays, then there are 4. I see another. So on your neck there is another sitting there. So he says there is only 1. There are no 3. So similarly here, if you look at it, ghata, one particular ghata, how far it is from ghata? If you say it is dura, then that ghata is far from that ghata because you have a ghata on your neck. Otherwise, ghata cannot be far from that ghata. From another ghata, it can be far. From pata, it can be far. But ghata cannot be far from ghata. Why? Because it is tadghata only. Tadghatatvat, you will say. What is the hetu? Tadghata, tadghatat na vyavadhiyate. Or you will say what? Tadghatasya. Tadghata is that particular ghata. Tadghatasya tadghatat vyavadhanam na sambhavati. Kena sambhavati? Kena api na sambhavati. Kutah? Why? Tadghatatvat. Hetu will be what? Tadghatatvat. Because it is that ghata. That particular ghata is not away from that ghata. Why? Because it is that ghata. So Siddhanti uses that. He says, Atmatvad eva atmana. Atmana atmatvat. Because Atma is Atma. Atma cannot be separated from Atma. It is Atma. Atmanaha atmatvat. Atmanaha vyavadhanam. Kena api manag na sambhavati. Kena bhavati. Manag. Little difference will be there. That is that ghata little away from that ghata? No. Some Tarkika will say, oh, the atoms, these molecules come together. If you look at atomic structure, there will be a little space in between. No, but it is that ghata. At the atomic structure also, that ghata is that very ghata. You cannot be away. There is no space in between them. No space also, let alone anything else. So, managapi vyavadhanam kena bhavati. Atmana. Atmatvat eva kena bhavati. Kena api na bhavati. But the other first half, ami buddhi deha ghatadaya eva ami vyavadhiyante. Ami is other shabdya. Those buddhi, deha, ghata ityadi. Buddhi is sukshma sharira, ahankaradi. Deha, stula sharira. Ghatadi prapancha outside. Brahmaloka priyanta. All of that vyavadhiyante. Have vyavadhana from Atma. Ahankara is separate from Atma, has a distance. Closest. Buddhi is closest, yes. But still separate. Vyavadhana is possible. Deha, further drawn away. Ghadapatadi, further drawn away. Everything further drawn away from Atma, but Atma cannot be drawn away from Atma. Now, this has a little technical aspect. I'll explain in the next part. We look at that Atmatvad Atmana, what kind of hetu is there. I'll just mention it. Then we'll see in the next part. This kind of tarka can be flawed. So in Tarka Shastra, different kinds of doshas in hetu are analyzed. Anekantika hetu, vyabhichari, ityadi. So here, anekantika hetu. For example, what? Shabdo nityaha. Why shabdatvat? That is what you have done here. Atmanaha vyavadhanam managapi kena means what? Atmanaha avyavadhanatvam. That's what you are saying. Atmanaha avyavadhanatvam. Or Atmaha avyavahitaha. Atmana. Atmana avyavahita. Tarka. What is Tarka? Anumana. Atmanaha avyavahitaha. What is the hetu? Atmatvad. Ghatavat, you'll say. Ghata ghatadyatha. Ghata ghatadyatha ghatatvadev avyavahita. Similarly, Atma atmatvadev atmanaha avyavahita. So Purva Pakshi will say, oh, Shabdo Nityaha Shabdatvat. That kind of hetu, it sounds like that. Shabda is not Nitya, but he has a hetu Shabdatvat. Now, where else will you show Shabdatva? Shabdatva, you have to show in something. Shabdatva will be in Shabda only. Where else will it be? Shabdatva will not be there in anything else. So you can use any hetu to prove anything. Some that Shabdatva will be in Shabda. It is not in anything else. But Shabdatva cannot be used to prove Nityatva. It can prove anything if you use that kind of tarka. So here also you are using it to prove anything. So we'll look at the technicality a little as much as possible in the next part. I will open with that. So Shabdatvat Shabdaha Nitya. What is the opposing tarka for that? Shabdatvat Shabdaha Anitya. Siddhanti can say, somebody can say, to Tarkika, somebody can say Shabda Anitya. Why? Shabdatva. Because Shabda, you hear in Ghatapatadi. Ghata, you tap the Ghata, Shabda comes in, goes away. Pratyaksha Pramana is there. But Anumana, with Anumana, what can you say? Shabdaha, Ghatapatadi has Shabda. So that Shabda also has Shabdatva. But that Shabda is Anitya. But this Shabda, you are saying that Shabda is Nitya. Why? Akasha also is Shabda. Akasha is Nitya. So Akasha Gata Shabda should also be Nitya. Therefore, Shabda Nitya Shabdatvat, that Hetu is not right. Shabda Nitya Shabdatvat, you have an opposite Hetu also. Shabda Anitya, Gatapatadi Shabda Anitya. Akasha Gata Shabda Nitya, if you say. So some Shabda in Gatapatadi, or you say some musical instrument. So Bheri Mridanga. So Bheri Mridanga Shabda. You say Bheri Shabda, Anitya Shabdatva. So there are opposing now. Therefore, Anekantika Hetu, Asiddha Hetu. Here also that kind of Aropa can be there. We'll look at the solution in the next part. Yat Sakshat Satchidanandam Pratyagadvema Kriyam Tannamami Nrusyas Yogi Gamyam Param Padam. So although my pathas have reduced, still Mangalacharanas are many, so I have to recollect the Mangalacharana for this. And there is Samskar of some other Mangalacharanas also, earlier pathas. So current patha Mangalacharana I may forget. Some other will come up and take its place. So I have to take a moment to think. Okay, Namaste, Dhanyavada. What happened? Did something wrong. Machine has hanged. Okay.